Hello everybody, Darren here, and welcome back to episode 57 in my second Let's Play series for Anno 1800. Now in the last episode, we made the island of Malahide self-sufficient by adding a new docklands harbor and building up the population to cater for the new artisans that we added. Today is going to be all about beautification. We started the island overhaul by building up the docks and the coastal town next to it, but today we're going to finish the job and build several other small pockets of towns and industry to actually complete it. Let's begin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in, grab a bag of popcorn, and your beverage of choice, possibly even two, because this is the longest time-lapse to date of this series at over 16 minutes. Now, nobody's ever complained about the length of a time-lapse, or no one's ever said they skipped through them or anything like that. People always ask for more. But even I have to say that 16 minutes is a long time to be watching the camera just zooming around the island like crazy. But this is a total island overhaul. No stone is left unturned by the end of it. Although we will go through, hopefully afterwards, and do some finishing touches and have a bit more of a soak in the atmosphere type episode of where we're possibly going to walk around and have a look at things in greater detail. And maybe solve a few little issues if any of them crop up. But yeah, I think the raw recording for this was somewhere in the realm of 4 hours. So I've tried to condense it down and cut out any of the experimental stuff and any of the mistakes or do-overs so that it is just kind of the most relevant information. Now, obviously in the last episode, we figured out the logistics for the town. We tried to get it kind of self-sufficient and put some artisans on it so we had something nice to work with in terms of buildings. And then we kind of gave them a docklands to help that self-sufficiency and then built up the docklands kind of community. Yeah, I guess that's a perfect word for it, right? Really, it's the kind of portside town, the kind of community around the docklands. Now, it's going to be the rest of the island. So the first one I'm doing here is another kind of community around the brickmakers, the clay pit, and then Schnapps distilleries. The reason I put down Schnapps distilleries here was because I actually wanted it to go next to the pub. I kind of thought, like, I think somewhere on the island we have like 7 or 8 of them, but I thought like 3 would just be nice to have near the pub. Obviously, vastly oversupplying it, I'm sure, but the idea being that, like, this is a sort of an industrial mini village, but, you know, having the pub right next to there means they get their drinks quick, blow off some steam after the work shift ends. It's all good. So, I'm obviously just watching this back at the same time you are. It's sort of like a commentary track, really, and that's how I do all of the time lapses, so forgive me if I go a bit quiet at times as I have a look around and try to remember what's coming up next. I did just do this about an hour ago, so you think I'd be able to remember, but it is edited to cut out some bits where, like I said, I was doing do-overs or things like that. So basically, you remember in the last episode we said I wanted to do these pockets of communities. There's going to be 3. This is the second one, so it's not that big. Ultimately, I wrote down at the beginning of this how many houses I needed for each thing. So we had the logistics in the island pretty self-sufficient, pretty set. I think it's around 80 farmers, 60 workers, and around 20 artisans. So that always kind of had that in the back of my mind, knowing that we need to hit at least that amount of houses. So I think we're almost done here, actually. I decided to bring over the other brick factories to here, and surprisingly that one warehouse is able to kind of manage this whole place, which I didn't think it would be able to do, considering there are 4 brick factories, 3, I think, forestry buildings, lumber mills, is it? And then the 3 Schnapps distilleries as well, so quite a lot. Now I realized obviously these guys, the workers, are going to need a school. I decided not to go with artisans because this is more of an industrial kind of town in a way, sort of like a little industrial village, but lots of farmers because they're going to be operating in the Schnapps distillery. And I was tempted to put down some farms, some of the potato farms, to actually feed the Schnapps distilleries, but I decided to do it later somewhere else, so didn't end up going with it. Anyway, so we'll have a look at that town. I know I did glance over a lot of that stuff as I was explaining a lot of the time-lapse here, but we'll have a look at the town a bit more in detail later in the episode. I'm just hooking up that last lumber mill now. Lumberjack hut, I should say. Right, so you can see I've queued up a bunch of houses all along the cliff edges. Some people said, oh, you could build like another artisan cliffs. I rarely like to copy the same kind of thing I do. Like, I love swords. Swords has the artisan cliffs. I think that's cool. If I was starting a new game or something, the cliff on Crown Falls is massive, so if you have Crown Falls, that could be a great place to try and do artisan cliffs as well. But I don't want to just try and do that multiple islands. I've already done it, so I'm trying something different here. So it is a cliff in the center here, and the center of this horseshoe. And that's where I've laid out all of these worker houses all against the coastline. And I'll swap these out to have some artisans in there as well. Now, as you can see, I'm trying to place industry into my town a bit more. So I've gone with 2 bakeries next to each other across from the church. And I put in that windmill. I like to think like, you know, the bakers are called like the old mill. I like to think it's almost like one building in a way. And I'm just fulfilling that thing I said I'd do not yesterday. This was ages ago, actually. In the last episode where I said I need fire stations down there by the dock. So I've done that. So anyway, the church here is kind of the centerpiece of this, or the focal point of this kind of town, and it's wrapped around those cliff edges as well. And a lot of the industry I'm going to be pushing out of it to the extremities by having just the artisans sort of in the center, then kind of workers, and then it'll like filter out to farmers. Now it'll have a little bit dotted in and around here and there to kind of break it up and make it look less uniform. But generally that was the idea. It's like, yeah, the town square is kind of meant for the artisans. Then as you get further out, you got workers, and then the farmers are going to be in and around the sheep, the pigs, and the actual farms themselves, which we'll add soon. All right, so we have our church, we have our school just across from it, we have the bakers across from that, and now I'm kind of focusing out on the, I don't know, actually. Oh yeah, I was going to say anyway, focusing out on the side of the school. So I was having a look at where I could put that market. It actually looks really good when you get rid of the road. But I need to rotate the school around. We'll have to do that during the episode. It's facing kind of the wrong way. It is facing into the town, but I want it facing away from the market, if that makes sense. It'll make sense when I show it later. Anyway, put down some restaurants right across from the market and the plaza. And then just some stalls and things like that for people to buy food. And then ultimately just filling in a little bit of the ornaments around different houses, which is what I think we'll also do at the end of this episode. Just make sure everything kind of makes sense, because I do kind of put these down a little bit quickly. Right, so at the back of the school is where we're going to be actually putting... Damn, I'm jumping ahead. Yeah, okay, sorry. So this is the sheep, obviously. But it feeds... You'll see in a moment why I'm stuttering or why it doesn't make sense to me. But it's because... We'll put sheep next to the school in a second. I'm actually really happy with how that looks. But yeah, so someone said in the last video you should bright harvest the sheep, so I've done that. I've added the silos to the sheep farms, and obviously the workforce and everything is all out of whack right now because they need to be moved around and placed back in the houses. So here at the back of the school, this is what I was talking about. The original idea here was that it was going to be a little playground for them, a sort of a green... what would you call it? Like a green? Yeah, a green park, a school park, you know, just for them to kind of come out and play, the kids. So I added some apple orchards and then some swing sets and things like that. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll leave it there. And it's kind of an irregular shape just to fill in this sort of empty space that we've left there. Then we need a variety theater, of course, for the artisans. And I just kind of temporarily put it there. I'm going to move it later, so don't worry about that. Right. Filling in some ornaments. Typically, I always go with like 1 or 2 trees outside the worker houses, and I rotated them around to make sure they're facing the right way in. They actually look really nice. They have this like lovely porch, that type of one. Right, so here, I wanted to darken the grass, because the sheep's grass is actually like a little bit darker. And I had this idea that, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it was like a petting, like sheep, children could come out of the school and like pet the sheep and play with the sheep and stuff, like an animal farm. Well, Animal Farm doesn't make sense to a lot of people. I grew up next to a place in Ireland called the Animal Farm, and it was like a place for kids to go and interact with animals that aren't really being farmed, they're just there and being taken care of. So I love this idea of, obviously it has its own fence, so I was trying to break up the fence between the park and the animal farm. So it's like, oh, within the park, there's like this like petting zoo. I keep calling it a petting zoo, but it's really just like an animal farm where the kids can go up to the sheep, have a look at them, play with them or whatever, learn more about them, and you get the idea. So yeah, so ultimately moved around the swing sets and the apple orchards to be at the front. So I was really happy with that. I think it looks really good. I'm going to make a small change just when we get into the episode, but generally I like the idea. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that, and I really like the idea of it. Alright, so back to the variety theater. So I decided to place it at the back of the church. Not sure if that would really fly that well in the eyes of God, but ultimately I'm just happy with where it is. I couldn't really think of like where else I should put it without adding 2, because if I move it too far to the right, a lot of the houses can't get to it, so it's a bit of a pain. But I actually do like where it is. I think it looks really good. I wonder about the theme of it, you know, coming out of a theater and then you're at the back of a church. Maybe that's a normal thing. I don't know. I imagine in the 1800s it's not, but I don't know. but I'm sticking to it anyway. Right, so around from the sheep farm, I wanted to put down some pig farms, but being too close to the artisans, I thought it needed kind of trees and bushes to kind of separate it, so I used flower beds and trees, and it kind of just masks it, but it's still close by, which I think looks and works way better. And then I'm just figuring out layouts here for the pig farms and trying to get them to combine into one larger pig farm. I also made sure that they didn't have silos within them in terms of the actual modules silo, and added in my own external silo from Bright Harvest DLC. Because there's actually a module that has silos built into it. It looks really weird if you have that as well, I think anyway. Right, so we've got 2 of them there. I know I am zooming this goddamn camera around a lot. I tried to slow the speed of the time-lapse down whenever I do that, but I guess at certain points it is just still really, really fast. Anyway, we've crested over the halfway point of this time-lapse. So, got another bakery a little bit further down into the town. A couple I don't even know what they're called, but work clothes makers. Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of what they're called. Framework knitters, that'd be it. Yeah, so a few framework knitters are in there now, so it looks really nice, I think, having all these buildings in town, households in and around the actual industry. A lot of people have been asking me to do that for a long time, so you have your wish now. Especially since I really do feel like you can't quite do it at the engineer level, and you can only just about get away with it maybe with the artisans. So the artisans are kind of in view of the farms and stuff, but they're not necessarily touching up against them. And that tends to work a lot better, especially if you're looking at the people themselves walking around. It just makes more sense. Otherwise, you've got like these fancy ladies with their big fancy hats, like walking into a pig farm, and it just doesn't make any sense. So every now and then I just do that pull back, zoom out, and like kind of get rid of buildings and get rid of things that are no longer relevant. And then I just get a little bit bored with the overall laying out the town. I get bored and distracted and go in and start placing ornaments around. Yeah, so I think at this point I've realized that I don't need any more farmer houses, or just a couple that I can place down myself. And I'm starting to build out the actual grain farm. So I wanted the farm to come out at an angle, not just be a big square. So I kind of gave it a sort of a diagonal angle. And then I wanted multiple of these farms, and they're Bright Harvest activated now. So that was another thing I did, was hooked up obviously the fuel station and the train line to the oil harbor at the beginning. So now we've got fuel coming in and oil. And it should just about reach those farms, I think. Even though the roads are quite awkward. That's another problem with not designing grids, I guess, is you end up cutting off your own roads when it's just simple things like trying to get fuel to go into your town. So this area I'm not that happy with, the back of the variety theater. I gotta figure out something to do with that. But then just the right next to it. But then after that it becomes like just this big wheat field, which I actually think looks good. And then I always try to make sure we've got the farmer houses next to that. So I added some scarecrows into the farms themselves. I thought that looks kind of funny and kind of cool. It's a shame that you can't just place them into the farm themselves as like a module. They're like separated out, but still looks good. And I went over the farm and got rid of all the hay bales and things. Then we just have a pocket of a few more houses out on the sides as we wrap around with different farms. We've got a police station in there now and a pub. And when building the houses out this way, I tried to have them like along the roads, if that kind of makes sense. Like it would go from 3 layers out to 2 to 1, like in a kind of even fall off as it gets further and further out from the town, rather than just like a harsh line where the town begins and the town ends, if you know what I mean. I think that looks quite nice too. I never really did that in any other build, so even though I'm flying the camera around, probably not explaining it very well. It's quite late this evening, I must admit. I'm very tired after doing all this. Hard day's work playing Anno for 4 hours. But it's just a bunch of other things, I guess. But I'm just a little bit slow of mind right now, I feel like. But I do think that's a good kind of natural fall off for the town, to have like the buildings slowly decreasing as they get further out on the edges of the main roads that sort of lead in. So I'm quite happy with how that looks. I look forward to... I haven't actually recorded this episode yet. I'm going to be doing it right after this. And I look forward to now going in and going around and having a look at how things are in a bit of a slower motion. I haven't actually done that myself properly, and that's why we're going to go in and tweak and have a look at things and make sure everything's running okay. So around the back of the villager or farmers up there by the wheat field, obviously I love using the hay bales, and the flatbed wagons often have hay on them as well. So I popped all those ornaments up there. Some of my favorite ornaments are the bright harvest ones for villagers. I always call them villagers, just can't not do it. Right, so we've got a bunch of potato farms. Ultimately we don't need this many because we've now activated tractors on them. So we've got way more output than we need. Like, literally, like 3 times the output more than we need. But I like the way they look. They're kind of more industrial as you get further out of the town and get closer to the oil harbor. The idea originally I was thinking was I'll build it on the oil harbor, these kind of farms, and just coming out from it. But then I kind of decided, no, the farm should come up and push up against the villagers, or the farmers that are in the town. And then closer to the oil harbor, we'll have all the rendering works and the slaughterhouses and all the kind of big industry buildings that ultimately don't really fit inside the town anywhere. Like, I was thinking of where could I put the slaughterhouses? Like, next to the school? I don't know. Like, it just didn't seem right. And then the same thing with the sewing machine factory and the goulash thing, the artisanal kitchen. It's like, yeah, these are great buildings. They would make sense in the town. It's just their base is concrete, and you can't really get that to line up with stuff very well. Especially then if you want to have, like, I don't know, other buildings around. You know, it just doesn't seem to really match, at least for me. So if you can change the base of ornaments in a future DLC, I could go over every single town I've built and change and put things in like totally different places, because I would love to have that factory on like the road material, you know, instead of on concrete material. Or a dirt thing as well. That'd be great too, to have a dirt road, have it blend with the dirt road. Anyways, we're coming to the end now. So the final thing to do here was add to kind of dress up the docks of the oil harbor. So just kind of put in a few cranes, a few pulleys, things like that. We've obviously got the big factory and the railway of where all the industrial buildings are. And then I just wanted a kind of a slipway, as we've so famously created now, for several boats to kind of fall off on. And that's it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the island of Malahide, now in its crisp, clear 1440p detail. Now that we're not speeding things up and causing all sorts of video compression problems, we can just slow down, take our time, enjoy the sights, sounds, and dare I say, smells of this beautiful and quaint kind of portside town. Well, actually, it's like multiple towns, really, isn't it? It's 3 towns. We have a portside town, a kind of a landlocked industrial village, and then the more central population hub, the farming town, really, in the center there, and the kind of across from this ravine. Alright, so this episode is largely just going to be focused on me going through some of the details of what we've built, and also finishing things off if we've left any pockets of, you know, gaps without ornaments and things like that. I've definitely done that, and there's a couple of adjustments I want to make as well. But I also just think it's nice to take your time and have a little zoom in and check on some of the details that you otherwise may miss, because actually I've just seen 2 things that I don't think I'd ever seen before, and I've hundreds of hours in the game, and I'm one who actually stops and does look at things fairly often. And the first one is these buildings right here. Can anybody tell me what they are? It's the saltpeter works. So I'm not actually familiar with the process for extracting saltpeter from the ocean, but it looks awesome. I've just never really seen this building up close before. I don't think I've ever taken the time to really have a zoom in. So I love the kind of turbine spinning. It seems almost like they suck up water or something. This guy here scrubs it, or he's got a little it's not necessarily like a brush or a filter or a rake. It's almost like he's pulling some out of it. I don't know what he does with that then. And then there's 3 separate ones here, and then obviously these 3 big cylinders as well. So I might actually check it out and read into what they're doing here, or just generally the process for this, because it's quite interesting. I just think the building looks really good. I've never really properly looked at it before. Lots of detail in there, so it looks awesome. The other one I just wanted to mention really quickly, surprisingly, was the slaughterhouse. I just had a look at it while I was going through the time-lapse, and I noticed that there's these like little open-air ovens at the back where they're almost like grilling sausages, it seems. I don't know why you would... Sausages aren't cooked, right? I mean, maybe hot dogs are, kind of, but sausages, regular sausages aren't. But it's cool. It's like there's like coals, and there's, you know, you can just see them in there on the little racks being cooked. I guess we could hop down and have a little... Oops. They've changed it in a recent update where if you're hiding the UI, you can't get down on the ground. I don't know why that is. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it does not look as good from down here, but it's still cool just to see it in that greater detail for anyone who couldn't quite see what I was talking about. Oh man, there's actually like little fire effects and everything. Distortion effects on the screen for this. So I don't know, you just pick up a lot of details that you don't otherwise see that often. Alright, so I thought we'd have a look at this town. We didn't get too much time to look at it at the end of the last episode when we built it. Of course, we have our docklands with several piers on either side, and then we've got a loading wharf and a depot. All the piers are facing out the correct way, so most of the boats come in at the front. And then this one we have as a curved pier, but the boats will still load and unload there. Of course, then at the back we have more of our salt padder and then a fishery. And then obviously at the back of the fisheries we have fishing nets that we've placed down, and a couple little warehouses for stocking different materials, giving them a bit of shelter. Look at that. Looks great. This bit will forever bother me a little bit. I mean, I don't have to cover everything, as people have taught me. One thing I learned in this series, especially with beautifying, you know, people said, like, you could just leave it. You don't have to fill every tile. Sometimes it can just look good on its own. And I agree. This can look kind of fine, but if I could have, I would have liked to extend this thing all the way out. It can go to there. But that would also drive me mad. So I decided just to leave the gap and let the stones just kind of fill up that place. So I replaced the second warehouse here with a fire station. Does that cause issues? Are we having issues? No, loading and unloading seems fine. Of course. Do they load and unload from this? I actually don't know. They do from the main wharf, but and obviously this thing, the grand trading post, but I don't think they actually load things there. I think it's just here and here. They act as warehouses. But that seems fine. Then we've obviously got our cranes and pulley systems and stuff for the depot. Which looks good. And then we've just got a mix of largely worker houses and villagers, or farmers, rather. I decided again just that less is more approach here. We could have filled some stuff in here, but I'm actually okay with just leaving it the way it is. I think that looks good. And then just a couple of artisan households as we get up to the actual school. This is oddly particular, but I'm just going to go through this and darken the grass. Because I feel like if your grass is inside and it's not locked, or it's not touching the external grass, you might as well darken it. Because it's like someone's taking care of that, a groundskeeper, etc. So there we go. So a quaint little town. Quaint little town. Nothing too crazy either, you know. It's just a kind of an uneven offset little town. Alright, so the next one over then was the industrial sort of mini town. Now I'd actually thought of something during the time lapse, which was, I wonder could I have switched out maybe one or two of these for a timber mill. Don't know where the timber actually is on the island. We've got one over there. And it's just on the edge, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't necessarily fit. I wonder, can we fit it in over here? Would it be better placed on it, like with a schnapps distillery? So there's no room for another one over there. How much schnapps are we making? Probably way more than we need. We are making 16. I'd be tempted to get rid of one of them and place in a timber building. It almost feels like it makes more sense here with the lumberjack huts on the sides, and these two of these seemed like a bit too much. So I'll do that. Why not? Let's just see how it looks. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So 2 little distilleries. And then a timber mill. Sawmill. I'm happy with that. Alright. So, if we were to zoom in, yeah, so I've actually left some gaps here. So let's see if we can fix these up. It's kind of like a worker house. It's kind of the back of the house. Maybe a flatbed wagon or something. Would be pretty good. Because we are, well, yeah, no, that's fine. I might actually rotate them around. That is the back of the house. So we could do something like that. And then if we get rid of this, and maybe we move the tree. That makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? Could do something like that, but it looks a bit weird. I'll do it here. And then just another patch of grass there. Almost like a mini garden or something. Yep, fine with that. Cool. Any other gaps that I left? Looks like I've left one here. Maybe a swing set. Could be kind of nice. And maybe out the back. Just tucked in over there for people to do their business, as they say. Alright. That'll be pretty much it. Might trail that road off this way so it looks like it just like pulls out into the wild. And maybe we could just fill in some trees there, some extra ones. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Obviously, across from the clay pit itself, we have, you know, remnants of clay. And then cargo boxes and stuff for people to take things away. Maybe water. Is there no fire station here, actually? No, it doesn't look like it. Little risky. Little risky. I suppose it wouldn't be the worst thing to add one in somewhere down here or something. Oh, there's just this building here.
Peddlers say there's nowhere.
So I wrote down that we needed 82 houses, and we've got 84. So we could actually get rid of 2 if we wanted to. We've obviously got all that extra workforce now. So I'm just trying to think, would it be better to get rid of a couple houses and add in, just have the fire station like right here? Maybe. Yeah, that could look kind of cool. I'm going to say goodnight to these 2. And that way they can kind of come out the back. Although, I'm already kind of questioning it, because... I'll just pull it down a bit. Add in another house again. Leave it that way. Again, I wish... See, these are always the situations where I wish I could use that material, you know? Because it's like... Ubisoft minds have done the work. The material's there. The texture's there. Just let me use it now. I'm sure they've made it where it's repeatable. It looks like it. So I just wish I could do that, but oh well. Alright, cool. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I know it's maybe a bit odd, just sticking out like that, but I was trying to think, like, where else could you put it? At the back of the school? It seems reasonable to assume that you'd probably have to have it up near the industry maybe as well, or somewhere tucked in at the back of the thing over there, but I don't know. I think it looks fine where it is. Looks fine where it is. So that's our kind of quaint little industrial town. So just a nice sporadic placement of worker houses in amongst the farmers themselves. We got 2 schnapps distilleries. We have the timber. We have 4 brick. What are they called? Brickworks, brick factories, and then 3 different lumber yards and a sawmill. Happy with that. All right. So moving on, then over here we have our couple of different mines, just some trees. So I tried to place the trees like kind of sporadically along the cliff edges, but also leave some large open areas. There's a bit of a line of trees there. We might touch that up a bit. And do we have a signpost? Of course we have our signpost telling us which way is which as we head over to these little towns. You have to give names to all these little places, I feel like. Alright, and we move over now to the main town. So this definitely has lots of room for additional things. Now that we've cleared that area, I think I might just rotate this. Do something like that. And then here, we could pop in...
An explosion in one of your factories.
Just something like that. A bit of extra concrete. Giving them a water tower, etc. Explosion on Crown Farms. That's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll just maybe do that to blend the road in with the whatever that brick kind of texture is. Alright, so then we kind of come into the town proper, and you can see that we've got lots of little farmer households, lots of farms in and around them, and then this is one thing I wanted to change pretty quickly, was that I think this would look a lot better if I just swapped it so that the fence just met up to that edge. And the same with this, the fence just met up to the edge. And then we could do something else here.
Fire has been done.
Even just like a row of trees and flower beds or something. But that basically means that it's like, oh, once you come into here... No, I have to darken the grass here, actually. Yeah, so it basically means that once you come into here, we'll just walk in. We'll see what it looks like. little kids that come across from the school. Actually, one last thing. I did want to turn that school around. I think it'd look better that way. So that way you're coming out of the back of the school if you wanted to go to the market. But the front of the school is like able to go into their little green play area, which I think makes more sense. There we go. It's Shift G to do that, by the way, darken the grass. Alright, so you imagine, you know, coming out of school, a little field trip, or not really a field trip, but a day out. Or you're gonna go into the park or whatever, pick our apples, teacher will help us pick the apples, play in the swings, and then go pet the animals and see the sheep and see the process for shearing them and stuff like that. That'd be cool. So I think it looks really nice like that. I think that's kind of nice. And then our fence like locks us up the whole way. It's a shame that that fence couldn't just come to here, but you know, whatever. Got a little well, maybe get some water, give it to the sheep. Same with around here, a little trough. I love it. I think that's really nice. So that's that. Let's brighten the day up. So let's really take a zoomed in look at these different pockets here that we've left gaps in. So across from the pub here, we've different things. We could maybe put down some seating on grass. Kind of makes sense, maybe. A little external seating. Maybe give them a canopy. Just a couple extra seats for people who wanted to wait outside. Then we're proper into farm territory here. So I suppose stuff like the Bright Harvest ornaments would work well here. Maybe, you know, like flatbed wagons or log piles. I could see that being a thing. Hay bales even. And then just, yeah, grass is fine there. Just makes it look like this place is busy. Just watched the guy fade into nothing there. That was weird. These places are full right now as well. I actually didn't account for... Do we have enough grain? Oh, yeah, we do. By loads. It's because I gave all of these... Or not all of them, actually. These two clearly don't have the silos. Some of them do, though. But they don't need it. If we're full, you know, it's fine. Like down here, we have the framework knitters. Woolen smocks. And then there's a couple extra ones here as well. I didn't really mean to group them so close to each other, but it actually works, I think. They're broken up by one of the bakeries. Just trying to see, did I miss any spots? Is this covered? Yeah, that's covered. Yep, think we're alright. There's some gaps here. Good for a clothesline, I think. Perfect. And then another gap here at the front. Although it is actually kind of like the back of the house in a way. So, what could we do? I suppose a tree would look nice. We'll use an elm tree. And maybe 2 swing sets. So what are our problems right now? There's ruins in our cities. We had problems in Mbesa, I'm going to have to figure out. And someone commented in the last episode about getting more influence. So I'm going to look into that as well. We'll look at that today. And see what kind of effects we'll have if we try that. It's tempting to place like market stalls here. Got an idea actually. Let's just see if I can cut this road. Bring them forward. And I don't know if this will look right, but I'll just try it. Just a little experimentation. Let's go to the city lights pack. Use the... Oh yeah, farmer stalls. Kind of makes sense. Well, that kind of blocks the road, so we'll just move it there. A farmer stall.
We could use just about anyone. You play me false?
Anything else? It's like a cheese stall, isn't there? Cheesemonger's stall. So I feel like people go into the house this way. Is it weird to have that blocking that? It kind of is. If we turn it. That makes a bit more sense. Yeah, people kind of walk in there and go up the stairs or whatever. So that's fine. Gonna get rid of that though. We'll leave that. That's just a blank area for them to walk through. Again, if I could change the base of that, that'd be great. Ubisoft, appreciate it. Thanks so much. But for now, it's good. For now, we have to live with it. Alright, cool. That took longer than it should have. Looking good though, generally speaking. I could maybe darken that grass. Yeah, looking good. We have our church, we have our fountains, variety theater. I did say I wanted to clean up the back of the variety theater, although I have no idea what to put there. So I'll leave it to you guys. If you've got a recommendation of what could go there. All I can think of is, I guess, seating, different seating arrangements and stuff, but it would look maybe a tad odd with the fields next to you, but not so much. I mean, there is a fence. So I just have it as sort of trees masking what's happening out there. I think that's about it. Do we have anything else? That's covered as well. There's lots of gaps here, though, so let's just see if we can do this kind of quickly. Definitely want some trees. So trees at the kind of corners of the streets. Always looks good. I can maybe do... There's a police station there, actually. Do we need seating? Nah, not really. A flower bed outside these houses looks good. Maybe the clothesline here. We have our outhouse. The ones that aren't on that. Scarecrow, outhouse, signpost, wooden fence to get through. Again, another clothesline I think is always perfect. When you've got a gap of 2 like that between the houses, always looks pretty good. I'll just stick a flatbed wagon and some regular grass down. Alright, cool. Maybe we could darken it.
Fleet ready?
Actually, we won't darken it because that dirt roads kind of have that brighter grass anyway, so that's okay. I think that's pretty much it. Basically. There's some gaps up here, I guess. Oh no, this is not. These are filled in and they have hay bales and flatbed wagons and everything, so yeah. Cool. Not much else to be done out this way, so just to go over things, if we just have a quick recap of this town itself. We've got our marketplace, obviously. School right next to it, and they're actually bordering next to each other, so... But people, as you can see, do walk between them. That's why I think it's really good. You don't need a road. People will walk between them. And it looks quite natural to have them next to each other that close, I think. Especially since it's the back of the school now. You can see what time it is for me. It's 7 o'clock. Church looks good, actually. I love the windmill. I think that's cool. The old mill bakery. People can go to this tiny window and tiny door and get their bread. It actually changes direction based on the window's windmills. Really nice little detail as well. Because obviously wind direction is tracked for ships.
Has arrived.
So it kind of makes sense that they have it too. So I'm just having a little walk around, seeing like do the streets kind of make sense. Obviously I can't do too much about the inner artisan streets, but they kind of do. Looking good. Oh, I can see the horrible oil in the distance though. Right, I think I'll leave it there. I think that's basically it. If we notice any more gaps, we'll try to fix them in our own time. But that's it. That's the town of Malahide right there. And then obviously just the last thing is then we have our docks, right? So we have our industrial section. Lots of rendering works, a couple fire stations, soap factories, slaughterhouses, schnapps distilleries, another brewery. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, next to this pub, we've got a brewery. Because again, like the schnapps distilleries, I thought this one looked particularly good. Having the kind of entranceway lead into there. It's kind of like one of those hipster bars, hipster pubs, where it's like, oh, we make our own beer here, or whatever. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then they've got their beer garden, of course. And then these farmers looking after their farms. Kind of industrialized with all the tractors on them now. And then we have our docks. Our secondary docks really just for oil. with just a few storage facilities on them and things like that. Nothing too crazy. Might just copy that and place it at the end here as well to have it match. Let's see what it looks like at nighttime. There we go, the lighthouse kicking off. Facing inland. It's kind of crazy, but there you go. Yeah, place looks good. That guy's glowing. Hello? He's having a conversation. He's doing some sort of deal. Some backhanded, shady deal. I don't trust this guy. He's too happy to see me. Just like that, he's gone. That's cool. Sandwich shack is all lit up. Oh, you know what makes sense here? A gap. Oh, yeah. Little gap for people to walk through. Do the same here. Nice. All right. Hope people didn't mind. I don't know if people like that. You know, every now and then having a little episode where we just have a look at things and zoom in and enjoy the sights and the atmosphere. I like it. So we'll get back to more gameplay focus now. I'm not really too sure what I'm going to be working on in future. Another thing I want to do is clean up this Docklands and see what the problem is here, where they keep going into the negative. We saw that the bar isn't being supplied. They're missing whale oil. Huh. Whale oil? Why are you missing that? Only coming back with 10. What's the problem? I'll just hang on really quickly. If we just go to consumer goods, all islands. It's an intermediate, I think, whale oil. No, agricultural. We're not producing enough. Now, do we bring it in through Docklands?
My
Is that a thing?
therapist says money matters dominate middle age.
No. Very odd. I feel like if I set that up, I must have done it knowing... Oh, sorry, wrong area. Knowing that, like, I have it, you know, accurate. So, are there any ruined buildings? This is a ruined building. But that's it. No other ruined buildings. What am I missing? Did we do that maybe before I set up the second glacier? That could be part of it. Whale oil is a tricky thing.
Is there something wrong with the way I'm doing things?
Maybe. There might be something wrong with the way you're doing things. This is Whale Central. Humpback Keys. They're doing their thing. And that's all the available coastline used for whaling. And same with here, really. I've got 5 of them here. I mean, there's not much more I can really get out of it.
It could feasibly be colder.
These people aren't actually even... Hey, he bought a share on this island? They're not even consuming it? What do you use it for? Oh, for the oil lamps, isn't it? Oh no, it's used for... Oh right. Pemmican. They're not even all operational. How bizarre. How bizarre. I don't know why anything would change up here. I feel like we sorted this all out before. But I'll turn one off.
Oh, thank God.
That lowers the consumption of whale oil here. In turn, raising it everywhere else, I guess. Not raising it, but you know. So the market demand for whale oil has actually stopped because the building fills up. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. If you're overproducing, turning off the building won't do anything. So we are producing enough. We're producing 5. Sorry, we're consuming 5 and producing 11. So we are overstocking. But I guess when all buildings are consuming it, then you run out. Yeah, it might be one to look into. We have to do some stuff with the Arctic anyway in future, so I might come back and look into that. So what I was going to do was take a look here at the palace. So it was brought up in the last episode. I always mention that I'm low on influence, and I'm low on influence because I keep, every time I get it, I build more ships or I put down town halls. The way to have more influence, the real proper way, is just to build more investor households. I can have more investor households. We've got more.
Heartfelt gratitude.
Like, I've got an excess of almost everything they need. Like, if we have a look at coffee, for instance, we go to all islands. Notoriously a difficult thing for people to keep up with, I feel like. We produce 58 and we consume 38. So, like, I've got the room to have more. So, I'm like, oh man, I've got no influence. But, like, obviously, if I wasn't so broken-minded, I would just be like, well, obviously get rid of, like, half these workers, put down more investors. But I don't want to do that. I like the town, you know. But people said, like, if you want to get, or one person rather said, if you want to get more influence, you could change one of these policies to give you influence per engineer household. So in the Department of Culture, now first of all, it's a complicated thing. We're on attractiveness 10,773, which is allowing us to get to prestige level 2, which gives you a buff to all of the departments. Not any of the stuff out on this side of the screen, but what just the departments do by default. So for instance, we get 70 island workforce per town hall right now. That's just always, you can't change that. That's always, it's always something workforce per town hall, you know. If we're on prestige, I think by default it's 50, and then for every single prestige level you get 10 more. Oh no, you get 20 more, sorry. No, 10 more, yeah, it is 10 more, sorry. It does say it in the tooltip right there. So town hall, island workforce 50. Prestige level 2, therefore island workforce 20. So 10 per extra. So I could, right now we have the Guild Hall Act, which gives us attractiveness 200. People thought I had the reduced need for food, I think it was, or someone said the reduced drinks. Maybe I do have that somewhere else. Is it here? Nope. I don't think I have reduced drinks on, or consumption of drinks. All farms connected. Yeah, so we have the Land Reform Act on. But anyway, the point being that with this one on, we get 200 attractiveness. Now we have 10,700. If we change this to give us 1 influence for engineers, we go down a prestige level because we only have 9,000 now. So we're just slightly over. 9,000 is the cap, and to go 1,000 over, you get a prestige level. That means that I'm just going to turn it back on real quick. That means that we're getting a 7%, sorry, a 4, so it's only 2% extra productivity. And it's 4% increased visits. The storage doesn't matter. And the range for public buildings. The range for public buildings does matter for me. Because I believe that if we maintain Prestige 2,
You found your algorithm.
these guys are in range of universities.
Perfect.
This one's not actually, though.
Raise Opaline Tower.
They are, but they're not. I could just create a road cut through here and then they'd have it, I think. Yeah. See, ultimately, basically what I'm struggling with is I'd like to even get another prestige level, and that would actually sort out the range for the university, because it would give us the percentage increase would mean that we finish these guys off. So, like, if I go to, let's run a World's Fair. That'll give me the extra attraction we need to check this out.
Nothing worse than those bohemians.
Architectural
An
marvels.
artisan has not even the most basic concept of money.
Alright, we've got loads of stuff, which is great. So that's just going to happen over time. Now, you might be wondering, hey, you didn't get that much influence when you toggled that thing on. That's because the town halls aren't actually connected to a road. We need them to be connected to a road. So we'll just do that just temporarily, and this one here as well. Okay, so the town halls are now connected. So now, if we go into this, and we switch out the Guild Hall Act to have +1 influence for engineers, now it's going to actually do it. Now we've got 157 influence because of the amount of houses that we're covering. And again, if I never built a central park and we had all the extra houses in there, it'd be even more, right? So, but it is a lot. it's like, yeah, we potentially could have, you know, 100+ influence at the flick of a button. And it really wouldn't affect much, really, because this, with the attraction going down, it's like, oh yeah, you get a little bit less university access. Your population might fall slightly, because it's literally maybe 7 households that aren't in full range. And I don't think any other islands anywhere else globally use that. It does mean our factory island is now operating at 2% less efficiency for everything. Everything that has this. They would have been at 14%, now they're at 12%. So it actually does change things ever so slightly everywhere. It's a delicate balance, but I mean, I'm sure we could totally get away with doing that if I really, really wanted the influence. Which I might have to do for High Life. In all honesty, I might have to do that for High Life. Because I don't think I can really get any more attractiveness here. I could go through... Oh, I still have to do it with the zoo. And I could, I suppose, go through and just make sure everything is a level 50 attractiveness item. That would help. But other than that, I am pretty maxed out now for like space and all of that, you know? This is like the last area. And they've been teasing some buildings for High Life. And it's like, oh man, I have no idea where I'm going to fit them, you know? So we'll see. We shall see. But I appreciate the feedback and the help, though, nonetheless. It's, you know, it's a dilemma which one we'll go with, or which one I'll go with. But what I'm going to do is just going to speed up time. We'll just flick back to the Guildhall Act again. Sniping our influence, but increasing our attractiveness massively. And now we're up to 11,170. So there we go, we've passed it. So we passed 10,000, now we've passed 11,000. So does that mean now we're at Culture 10,99999? I might have gotten confused, but does that mean we're at Prestige level 3 now? Yeah. Wow. So Prestige level 3. What else changed? The World's Fair hasn't begun yet, has it? No, I guess it has. 150. Oh, no, it hasn't. Something else must have changed that I didn't spot. But we've gone up by like 200. Is it just because we're loading it? I mean, it has 150 there, but I think that's just permanent. There's no festival. Nature. So Christmas, amusement, city lights ornaments, amusement ornaments, Christmas ornaments, Docklands main warp. I can get actually a big attractiveness benefit if I just connect up to Docklands properly. It's not fully connected. So that could help. The palace wings themselves give attractiveness. Engineer residences give attractiveness, really.
With so much out there to
Probably
see,
because of something that
one
we're
has
giving
little
them.
time for homesickness, though I do keep pictures in my locket.
Even one of a trade union is giving 30? Do I have a trade union on this island? I didn't think I did. Oh, maybe by the vineyard, isn't it, actually? Yeah. It's kind of interesting to see the breakdown. There's quite a lot of things adding to it. Yeah, this is my only trade union. Plus 30 attractiveness. Where's that coming from? The Gods of the Delta. Gives 30 attractiveness and 10 influence. Is that 10? Let's see what that does. 10 influence for every single trade union. It's in the other one, isn't it?
A fire broke out.
Down here. Town halls and trade unions. Alright, nice. That is so good. Yeah, whale oil. It's a bit of a problem in these bars. I'll have to look into that. It's very strange how that's kind of happened. Because I feel like for a long time it just, like, think of the amount of episodes that have gone by that I haven't gone to the Arctic. Quite a lot. And this doesn't happen. So that's why I'm just a little bit stumped. I'm trying to think in my head, like, what did I change that would have done that? Because we've had this set for, like, I don't know, 10 episodes. That's like over 10 hours of never having that run out. And even more, really. God, look at that, 204 hours. We're coming up to 100 episodes soon, actually. How's that World's Fair going? Still not fully loaded. What are you waiting on now?
Slowly.
Still just few little things. Well, I mean, we've actually hit the next prestige level anyway, so I can kind of see. I guess what I was trying to test, which was how much could I get out of it when we run the World's Fair constantly. Yeah, let's I gotta check on shares and see. Bird's Eye's having a problem. We've got to figure that out. He's bought everything in Tabarim. Jesus Christ, he could have bought out the island at any moment and I didn't even notice. That would have been catastrophic. Wow, that could have been really bad. I wonder would he even have the money to do that. So yeah, Bird's Eye was having a big riot on it, so I actually placed down a police station that was perfectly in this gap here. There's just a perfect gap there for it. And that seemed to fix things, but I think they've run out of clothes.
This story is about a city.
Now, I'm pretty sure we've got plenty of finery. Yeah. So I don't know why I'm not delivering it properly. Right, so complicated route, eh? This is where we definitely need another ship. For sure. So, let's have a look just overall where it's been stored. I think really the problem is that we just need to hit its max capacity and then eventually it'll sort itself out. So we're picking up 100 at Rock Lobster if we can. Where's the ship now? It's got 26 on it. Alright, it's a very small amount. And it's going to drop that off at Zula Bilen, which is this island here. And it's going to drop it all. It should drop 75, but it doesn't ever hit 75 because it's carrying 36. I see the issue. And then so much time is passing that I feel like this place constantly empties out and always has room for that amount. But I feel like that shouldn't make any sense. Surely if you're producing more than you need and you're delivering it on a route, it should never run out. That's what people keep telling me. There's a great explanation of it in the comments last time and I believe it when I read it. But every time in practice, I'm like, it's not adding up though. So I have no idea what the hell's going on with that. Can we make even more finery here? What do they need? 40 workers? No, I'm not going to do that. What about here though? Definitely have the room for it here, you'd imagine. Tabarim. I guess I could check as well. Is linen working correctly? 17 to 17.
The fire has been vanquished.
19 to 33. Well, that's because we use it elsewhere. If we just toggle on... There you go. 19 to 19. So yeah, we do. Again, I'm sorry to leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger, but another one was not much of a cliffhanger, but another problem left unsolved. Another one I'm going to have to solve on my own, I think, or just look at it between next episode as to can I just sort out this trade route. I mean, I'm sure if I just had a finery route that carried it around all islands, that'd be fine, you know. No pun intended. But it's because the route is so fragmented and going over to it's hitting 4 different islands and delivering 5 different things, you know, so it's just a mess. Ultimately, if I just have 2 different ships doing it, it'll be sorted fine, I think. Anyways, that's probably going to be it for this episode. Looks like old Arthur has built back up his fleet. Should we have a little bit of combat here at the end? I reckon so. Let's go. I'm going to speed up. I'll let this one go by. That's fine. We're heading for the bigger boys. People did say to get the double Dominator cannon, I think, from Nate. I haven't yet actually grabbed it. But I'll definitely endeavor to do that so we can try it out. Looks like he's just patrolling back and forth. What's up? Don't know if these other guys want to take part. You want some? How much time do we got? It's a 5-minute duration. Let's go.
Ship under attack. Ship under attack. Ship under attack.
Alright, looks like the big boys are swinging around. Let's just move up to them and then we'll do a turn. Oh no. You went for the schooner. Or the gunboat, was it? Yeah, it's a gunboat at least.
Ship under attack.
Fire!
Ship under attack.
That's the 5 multi-shot one, by the way, so that is such a beast. So good.
Ship under attack.
Oh, be quiet, old man. Alright, that's gonna be it. God, it's so loud every time.
Under attack.
Steer us forth.
Ship under attack.
Alright, I'll just speed up time, see what we get from this loot.
More than ready.
Ship under attack.
So we grabbed Morning Glory, hell yeah. 1 pocket watch.
Attention, the Admiral.
Oh,
Ship under attack.
the hell is that? Blueprint for an infeasibly large ocean liner. It's Gasparov-esque. That's pretty cool, little character item. I wonder if that something to do with the campaign or anything.
More than ready.
We got Arthur's magnifying glass. Cool. Well, there you go. That's how to efficiently take out, I don't know, how many ships was that? Like 10, probably? And we'll wait for our pirate thing to wear off
Fleet on the move.
before we circle back around. Anyway, that's going to be it for the end of this episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. Sorry about the late uploads. These episodes take a lot longer. Like, I've been doing this all day. The full day, which is Anno. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying maybe I should have done it yesterday, I guess. Alright. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments. We're going to be hitting more islands, obviously doing overhauls and such. And if you got any feedback with any of the logistics questions I raised, please do let me know. I read everything. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, thank you very much for watching, and remember, if you want to support this series directly, you can click the join button to become a channel member. Doing so will get your name in the credits, as well as loyalty badges and emotes to use in the comments. If you don't see the join button, it means the video has been copyright claimed, but you can still join from the channel page on desktop. You can also link your account to our Discord to get a special role on there that will give you access to the Senate House and a few other perks.